All right, all right, all right. How's it going, everyone? It's really great to be able to come back on a board. I think that it's been pretty exciting to be able to stream again. I feel bad that I wasn't able to jump on Thursday. I had to pick up some pills. I'm starting to run low on a lot of my anxiety medication. I need to upgrade it a lot more. I usually take it for when I'm driving, but it's kind of miserable when you're like, I guess, kind of like worrying about whether you'll do well, like just kind of with regular everyday stuff while I'm like, I guess, just kind of trying to keep myself normal. Or if, what's it called, a lot of that anxiety ends up winding up going into just normal everyday situations. It's not usually the best, but you do what you gotta do. You make do with what you got. That's the main takeaway from all of this. But the good thing is that we are here now. And there's like within the past week there's at least been quite a few different like things that have happened. Like I got caught up on like some of the K dramas that I had sort of like put on the back burner. There's one called Nevertheless where like it was kind of interesting because it was really just super drama filled. Like there's just that sort of will they won't they, but it's like whether like the Playboy guy will get his like act together and like actually like give like any kind of thing going on with like the artist girl, or if the artist girl will like continue to resent him because he's a cheater, a serial cheater at that. But I also felt bad because there were two girls that ended up together, but the way that they framed it was that like while the opposite sex couples got to like make out in the streets and have all kinds of like different affairs, like they had to just constantly dance around whether like the two girls were gonna get together. And after the longest will they won't they, like it felt like reading legal papers when I had to like I guess see their dialogue, because it's just like, yes, I may or may not be interested in may or may not you, and everything is in such like just like kind of like everything is so coded that it's like suffering. And then you just ended off on a hug, and that's just really like sucky. I'm gonna like turn the music off because I feel like maybe like my CPU is starting to get a little like wonky. Yeah, if it like it stops jamming up a bit, then I know I'm in the good. But OBS has been really mean to me lately. But yeah, there was another one I was watching recently called, uh, I think My First Love. That one was wild. Because that one, it's like, it starts off with the whole idea of like, oh yeah, like, this like little idiot rich kid like finally has like a flat to himself and he's gonna use it to pick up girls. But then like he ends up like kind of just romancing, or he ends up like having a ton of his other rich friends like room up with him. And that's the worst thing ever, because like everyone in that show has like really serious drama going on, like people that I'm like, or whether you're supposed to laugh at a scene or whether you're supposed to like be upset, because there's definitely instances like where like all the rich kids are trying to convince like the main guy to be like, oh yeah, like we definitely like want to move in, but we got to word it in a way that makes you feel bad and that has us move in. But like there's no way that like you wouldn't feel awful, cuz all of the situations are really terrible. There's so much like there's like a scene where like the kid's showing off like the scars he's getting from being beaten, and like they're still playing the hijinks music even though the acting and like the dialogue is definitely a lot more serious. But yeah, I'm not sure if I'm sticking with that one or not. I feel like, what's it called, there was definitely one I watched the other day, but I was a little like kind of like tipsy from it like while I was watching it, so I don't think I really remember to a T what that one was about. I think there was one where it was about like some like kind of like almost like a Kyoto like kind of restaurant or like a inn that takes place in Kyoto, and it's about the girls that work at the inn. It was just like kind of all right. Still feeling it out for a bit, but I feel that this would be a good opportunity to segue into today's game. It's the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, Part 1, Adventures. This is still in the first trial, so I'll run you through what you probably might have missed, like when I open it up. But for the time being, I'm gonna just get my setup together. Yes, there we go. Let's make sure all of that is the only thing there. The game supports autosave. That's pretty rad. That way, if I need to, like, if anything happens and everything just shuts down, just start over from there. But yeah, I know today's the first day of, or today's the first, this week is the first kind of like almost like full week of Ramadan. I feel bad, I don't really practice as much, but my friends and family often do, or my friends and family definitely do. So I'll try to refrain from bringing up as much tea or coffee stuff, because for this month especially, I'm going to try to not publicize, like, I guess how much I'm eating or drinking. Don't want to make people feel like they're like having to struggle through this without, or struggle through being reminded of things to drink or eat. But yeah. Alright, we're going on to believe that this is the most recent one. Start playing from the saved game. Perfect. Alright, so it's November 22nd, 1:38 a.m. And the good thing is that there is a court record here. So our main first trial, if we're going to get there, is our main guy. This is not him, but he's like a fresh-faced dude named Ryunosuke Naruhodo, and he's been accused of killing this English guy. He is a British dude that came over from Japan came over from England because this is the turn of the century Japan. They're starting to do trade stuff, and this dude happens to be a guy that was visiting. He ended up having he ended up meeting a dentist, and then he went to go out to eat some Western style food. Someone ordered a steak for him, but he was murdered by somebody, and he was, I guess, the head waiter. But you find out that this dude is actually a detective that was working to kind of mend like Japanese like British relations. So according to this dude Satoru, like, he needs to like be able to tell these guys that were at the restaurant that they saw nobody with this dude and that only Ryunosuke was there. Now this is my best friend. He is my partner, my life partner. He is Kazuma Asogi. He is what's it called? He's an aspiring lawyer who is planning on moving abroad so that he can become even more of a lawyer. But our old professor over here was like, say, if you mess up this trial, then he won't be able to go to England at all, period. So now he's helping me get me off. Nice. But we're helping get each other off in more ways than one. And this is one of the, I guess, the ancestors of the Pain guys from like the old Phoenix Wright games, who's usually like the first prosecutor that you have to fight against. But he's, I guess, kind of defending like the state as far as like whether like I should be condemned or not. But I personally don't think I should be condemned because we have a lot of evidence, such as all of this medical stuff, that leads us to think that He wasn't eating alone when he got murdered. Yes. Alright. November 22nd. We are on recess. Excellent work, Ryunosuke. That was superb. My heart was in my mouth the entire time. It was almost unbelievable. I mean, looking at you in there. You were drenched in sweat, your eyeballs popping, your knees knocking, and you were grinding your teeth. You should only be sweating and grinding around me, you know? Especially if you're behind me. It was a grim sight, but before I knew it, you started finding inconsistencies in the testimony. I think you might have a natural talent for being a lawyer. Forget it. It's terrifying. If I get through this, I don't ever want to see the inside of a courtroom again. Anyway, it looks like we've exposed your Phantom Lady at last. Miss Giselle Britt, a student from Great Britain, is she? That's what I was trying to tell everyone from the start. Dr. Wilson wasn't alone. There was a young woman with him, like I was saying all along. Yes, you have, haven't you? I might not be overly confident in the courtroom, but my powers of observation are one thing I'm sure of. Yes, I could see that. So, about this young gentlewoman. Thanks to our detective friend, she is hastily escorted away from the scene, it seems. Did you see what happened with that? No, I didn't see anything of it. Ooh, a nice gun. I was just on my way out of the restaurant myself, then on the floor next to Dr. Wilson's table. I noticed there was a gun lying on the floor, and just after I bent over and picked it up, there was a nice young gentleman behind me named you. I didn't have time to think about where the sound of the gunshot came from. The waiter ran up to me, looked looking as white as a sheet, and he bundled me in some sort of small pantry next to the kitchen. Fast thinking by the detective, he apprehended his subject without a moment's delay. Yes, because I was shut in the pantry. I have no idea what happened outside the dining area. Ah, there you are. Well done, both of you. Professor Mikotoba. Well, it seems I was right. The pair of you make an outstanding couple. You exceed my expectations, I have to say. Yes, it seems you planned this from the start. Really the matchmaker, aren't you? You arranged things so I wouldn't be able to act as the lawyer on the trial. Our modern country is still in its infancy. Our justice system even more so. Which is why I firmly believe we need to send our brightest young stars overseas to learn all they can. I wanted to avoid a situation that may have resulted in your study tour to Great Britain being cancelled. Man, I'm doing PR for Kazuma, where like, it's like, look, if you lost one trial, then everyone in Britain's gonna talk about it. Lawyer otherwise, if I'm the kind of man who can't help his friend avert the worst crisis in his life, I shouldn't waste everyone's time by going to study overseas anyways. What are you saying, Kazuma? So that's your stance. I was afraid you'd feel that way. Kazuma? Well then, it looks like it comes down to you, young man. To me? Yes, you need to prove your innocence and uncover what really took place at that restaurant. I must say, I very much want to know the truth. After all, I have personal connection to this case. Come to think of it, he said the same thing earlier this morning, didn't he? If you don't mind me asking, Professor, did you know the victim? Yes, I did. As you're probably aware, Dr. John H. Wilson was a visiting professor at UMA, and it was I who invited him. Oh, I see. I didn't know that before. Anyways, you're about to go into battle. The victim was a university professor in Great Britain, and a very well-known one at that. Naturally, our government is looking to identify and punish the culprit as quickly as possible. But let's not forget who we're going up against. The gentlewoman whose involvement our police bureau went to extraordinary lengths to hide. Yes, and I'm sure the prosecution will be using every tool at their disposal to quash your case. But I've no doubt that you pair will put up a good fight right to the last. Best of luck. Thank you. Now then, I need to run an errand to the university once more. There's something we may need. Something I think we may need. Of course. Good luck, Kazuma-san. Detective Defendant Naruhodo. Court recess is over. Please make your way back inside the courtroom at once. It's time. Let's get back to it, partner. Let's go in there and deal a decisive blow before those old fossils know what's hit them. We'll show them what true blowing is, Ryunosuke. Kazuma, you're phrasing again. What? Thank you, really. What for? Well, if you hadn't said you believed me, then I'm fairly sure I'd already been found guilty by now. Look, I have faith in you. As a lawyer and as a friend. Coming from you, that means a lot. If I'm found guilty in this trial, he's really gonna give up on his dream of studying abroad. That's the kind of true friend he is. So this isn't just my battle anymore. Whoever we're up against, we absolutely cannot afford to lose. Alright then. I'll save the thank yous for after the trial. You can treat me to one of those sukiyaki meals I like from Yume Cafeteria on University Street. With a large extra portion, of course. Let's see. Eat your sukiyaki. Eat your sukiyaki, Ryunosuke. Eat your burger. The court hereby resumes the trial of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Prosecutor Aouchi, have you managed to subpoena the witness?
Yes, Your Excellency, against all odds. And thanks to a certain young stripling, the prosecution is now under rather painful scrutiny from the government.
Sorry. Let the government scrutinize. That's their job. It's nothing to worry about. Let them talk about us.
It's highly unlikely that the good relationships we've forged with Great Britain will emerge from this trial unscathed. Will you still think it's nothing to worry about when the new treaty breaks down and our nation founders?
Again, terribly sorry. If the friendship between our nations is really so fragile, then the treaty isn't worth the paper it's written on. You really have nothing to worry about, Ryunosuke.
What do you mean?
A secret trial? Anxiety over foreign governments' opinions? A bungled investigation? Missing witnesses? Is this really what our nation's justice system is? This is the court of Japan. Is this the Supreme Court of Japan or of England?
Shut up! Shut up, you jumped up rookie boy. You and your friend know nothing. Nothing of the situation our nation finds itself in. By aligning ourselves with a great world power, we'll become strong. Diplomacy has never been more critical. Steady political maneuvering is what will secure our futures.
I won't deny I'm no expert. I'm just a student, and one who could arguably study harder too. But standing here now in our Supreme Court,